Hi everyone, welcome back to another video. So today's video is my impressions after a few days of using the OnePlus Pad 3. I got this last Friday. You check out my video and I got a really good bundle, including the keyboard, the 512 16 gigabyte RAM. Please, I put the specs at the beginning, the intro. You can go back and pause it to see the full specs. £479.99, so £480. It was I had £50 off because I was one of the early birds as usual, and also the 16 gig 512 was selling at the same price as the 12256 bundle. Was amazing. So I've been using it kind of on and off in the last few days. I was actually going to do a full-on impression on Sunday, just gone, a couple of days ago, but you watched my last video. I've actually started a new job. It's been over a week. I've been literally hardcore training, and just before that I've been off for 5.5 weeks, been doing practically nothing really. And anybody who's been in my shoes knows that after 5.5 months you got to start working, and you have to use a whole new system. I'm in the tech industry. Your brain just gets fried, and I was literally going to do my impression, but I had a headache and all that crazy stuff. So today's Wednesday. Today's my day off. I needed 2 days off. Had to do something. I'm going to do something in the afternoon for my mum, so I had the day off today. So I took an early day off as a holiday the first week. No, bless my manager who actually gave me the day off. I've only been here for a week and they gave me a day off today. So I'm going to quickly record this before I do some chores for my mum. Anyway, back to this, right? It's been, like I said, over a week, bit on and off. Haven't had too much time. I have played around with it a little bit too much, a bit. I'm saying a bit. I have played around with it, and if you have the OnePlus 2 pad, it's very similar, functionality and everything like that. This is using the latest Snapdragon, so it's a lot faster. I love the 13.2-inch screen. The LCD is great. Like I said, would I want a OLED? Of course I do, but you have to take into the factor about the pricing and so on, right? And to be fair, the LCD it does its job. So what we're just going to go into some of the basic things like the settings. Anybody who's familiar with Android would know all the settings here. Usual stuff. Let me just go into say for example the screen refresh rate. Yeah. So a lot of I think the only Android device I know has 60, 90, 120, 144 is the Nubia device. Check out my Nubia phone devices as well, videos. But this one you got standard 60. I hope you can see that I'm actually pretty far away. Standard 60 and then high 144. I wish sometimes they would have like a middle ground, like 60, 90, 120, 144, so you can pick and choose. So I just wish that I put it on 144 because the battery is pretty good. I've been kind of on and off and putting some sleep mode. I still got 72% of battery life. What I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna put the keyboard back and then just use it as a keyboard, so a bit more zoomed here. So you can see 72%. Here's the settings here. You can just normal settings here. And then you got color boost if you want to put it on color boost. You got all your usual eye comfort mode, which I don't really mind too much. I just leave it pretty default really. Same, my brightness is usually around this one's actually pretty bright. Look at that. It's probably about 45%, 50%. So usually I keep most of my devices around the 65%, kind of around here. But this one's actually 55%. So the screen's actually pretty bright. Please check out the screen, intro for the specs. I'm not sure how much nits on top of my head is. Apart from the usual suspects really. And the good news is since I got this, I had about 2 updates already. So updates are considering quite a lot. Then again, this is OnePlus. They are pretty good with their updates. Nothing to go on about. It's going to device, so you can see Oxygen OS 15. This is a 512 version. You can see here is a Snapdragon 8 Elite, so it's actually a pretty top range. The battery, over 12,000 milliamps, 16 gigabytes of RAM. And I've been using, like I said, on and off and also the standby mode is pretty good, over 72%. So really good battery life, really then. Okay, so let me just exit that for a bit. I'm going to go into. I haven't put any custom wallpaper yet. Kind of like I said, I've just been playing around little bits and pieces. we'll do is just Geek Benchmark. You can see it. We just go into the history. You know, one thing is, it is the biggest tablet I've had, and holding it one hand is a bit of a, can get a bit exhausting sometimes. So I'm putting it in the keyboard mode in a sec. So you can see here, single core 3079, multi-core 9769. Pretty good. It literally outperforms a lot of other devices here. Pretty amazing. Multi-score again outperforms a lot of other devices as well. And to be fair, I've been using, like I said, on and off. Nothing. There's no lag, no slowdown, nothing like that. Do just check the GPU. See, 17930. Here it is. He outperforms a lot of the other devices on the list there as well. And I've actually got a game installed, which is from, because I did a data transfer from the Pad 2, and I kind of forgot I had Asphalt on there, so I'm going to show that as well, and the graphics and sound. Also, I've done a 3D Mark test. Actually, first time, so I'm not 100% sure how it works, and for some bizarre reason, you have to do it in portrait mode. So you can see here, I hope I can zoom in, because your wildlife score is 23798, which is pretty good, I suppose. And that's it. Let me actually run a test again. So I'm actually doing a test again. And let me pause this. No, it's actually pretty good, pretty fast. So let me just pause it, and then I start to back up with the final results. Okay, I'm back, and here's the results. So whatever that means, maxed out. Some of the frame rates, here it is. That is the battery, not bad, it only did 1%. Temperature 31 Celsius, so 74 FPS to 179. That is pretty good. Make what you will. I'm not sure, never really used this, my first time using it, so that's that. Let me just put this in laptop mode, and I go into the actual usage of the keyboard. Alright then, let's just exit that. As I said before in my kind of unboxing, even when I did my sort of impressions of the Pad 2, right, I said that after using the keyboard, it's kind of hard, well, especially with the full-size trackpad. You can see the size on it. It's a full-size trackpad. I mean, if you fold it up, for example, right, at a glance you probably think that it is very reminiscent of those thin laptops. And I've got a Magic Pad on the Magic Pad 2, which is amazing, by the way, and still recommend. It's on sale, by the way. It has the OLED, so that's still the best screen in my tablet devices. But I said the OnePlus Pad 2 was my favorite because of the usage. And as good as the Magic Pad 2 was, the keyboard didn't have a trackpad, and it's just a bit annoying just using your keyboard and using a screen, but having a trackpad just makes that much difference. I think that all tablets, anything over 12 inches should come with a trackpad. You know, it doesn't have to be full size, but as long as you've got a trackpad, it is, once you use it, it's hard to go back without a trackpad. So I've got some of these Word documents up here. This is free. It's so cool typing. It's actually just types as good as any laptop out there. It is. I think it's a millimeter travel distance. It feels like it. Only downside, a couple of downsides I found with the keyboard, right? The first one is there's no backlit keyboard. Fair enough. I mean, I know that it bothers a lot of people. Me, I don't bother me, because when I'm working, even in the nighttime, I always have a lamp so I can see what I'm typing. So backlit keyboard doesn't really bother me too much. Never cared too much about that, honestly. One more thing as well, which I found out, is with the Pad 2, you can use it wirelessly, right? And I tried to use it wireless. I tried to set up the Bluetooth. I was going crazy. I thought, is it me, or is my device, is my keyboard broken? Because I couldn't find a Bluetooth connection. There was no Bluetooth, anything like that. there's nothing. So I couldn't find it. I was like, what the hell's going on? Maybe it's just a faulty one. So I went to the OnePlus Pad, OnePlus site. They didn't mention that. I went to loads of forums, and I found that the EU version, they don't come with. It didn't. You can't connect with Bluetooth. I don't know what the reason. Someone said it was it failed some EU, I don't know what regulations, and they took the battery out, so there's no battery here. So the EU version or UK version, whichever, does not support Bluetooth. That's a bummer because it didn't really say it in the website. So, and I think, and then of course, if you look at all the YouTube channels who did their reviews on it, I was so eager to use it, the keyboard detached. I mean, I don't really use it detached as much, but it was a good feature to have because sometimes I did use the OnePlus Pad 2 detached. And that feature is gone. I was actually looking forward to see how good it was. That's a shame, and I think that OnePlus should have kind of mentioned that for the European version, which is a big down for me. It's not it's not like a thing that, oh, I need to return it now, because like I said, I did use the keyboard separately, but not that much. But it's a shame. I think that some of the all the YouTube channels out there they had the US version or a non-EU version. So for those who out there who's got an EU version or thinking of buying one from the UK, keep that in mind. The Bluetooth does not work, so you have to have the keyboard attached. There you go. So that's one thing that really annoyed me. I wish that I should have known. Like I said, it's not a deal breaker for me because I use it attached most of the time. But the keyboard is really good. It's nice material. I mentioned earlier in my unboxing. It's nice material. It's really flat. Nice and smooth. It doesn't pick up fingerprints as well. Then you've got the back casing. It's almost like if you're familiar with the Surface Pro line, the kickstand. I mentioned earlier, it does detach quite. You can just push it. You can see it doesn't require that much effort to detach the back case. So keep that in mind as well, especially when you're kind of pushing it further down a bit. If you push it too abruptly, the back can detach itself. So that's one thing as well. And also, because when I set this up, I'm not a big fan of swipe gestures, so I kind of disable. I just mostly use. I'm not a big fan of multitasking on tablets. Having 2-3 apps on. You can do 3 apps at once. I will try to show you. 3 apps is a bit too much. I think 2 apps is probably best if you're going to use it. Let's see if I can actually do that. Give me a sec. Because like I said, I did all the swipes off. So what you can do, you can actually click on the top. Hopefully I can bring that up. The top here, there's the 3 dots. And you can do split screen, right? And then, oops. Yes, took all the swipe gestures off. You can click on, say, there you go, another app. And you've got the two and you can actually move one side here. Alright. And then you can actually do 3, but 3 is a bit of a nightmare, so let me try that. Three is a bit of a nightmare how to do it. So I'm going to try to do it again. I did it earlier on. I was actually practicing. So let me pause it and try to get all 3 of them up and running. Okay, give me a second. So yeah, I managed to get all 3 of them. As you can see here, it's not the best to use 3 apps in one go, because you've got one there, you've got one, then you've got one inside there. So you consistently have to move that, and then you lose that one. So it's a bit of a nightmare moving. As you can see, it's not the best. Of course, it tells you what to do like that as well, right? 4 fingers, all of that stuff, right? So having 3 is not ideal. 2 is probably the best, but you can do floating apps as well if you want to. You can do a floating window on the top there, so you can do it that way if you want to, and you can move this one around. So like I said, if you do multitasking, having like 2 apps at one time, I would suggest you keep the swipe gestures. That will make it easier, because I don't really like using split screen. I like to just have one app and then one in the background, I can use it back and forth. I prefer having full screen. So when I set this up, I actually took off all the gestures. But no, I just wanted to show, if you do multitasking on one screen at one time, 2 is probably the best you can do. This is 13.2 inches, so it's a lot clearer than before. But having 3, as you can see, it just wasn't the best. But you get, I mean, it's having 3 can cause issues, and this demo I just showed you was a disaster. But hey, I managed to get 3 apps up at once. But just to show that having 3 apps ain't the best either. So that is all. Not really. I'm going to do one more thing, as I mentioned. I'm just going to put in that. That's all. Just to kind of show you I put in. There you go. So you can see it's connected via. You can actually connect it via Bluetooth if you wish to, or you can play with the controls. It's a bit too big in my opinion. So if you want to play with the controls on screen, get something around 8 inches. Okay then, let's have a game. Show the graphics. I'm going to put the volume on, so this also shows the volume as well, the sound. So you got the gist of that. The sound is really good. I hope I don't get copyright for that. Well, there's just switch this back up and then go back. So all in all, the tablet is actually really good. I do really enjoy it. I love the keyboard. I think it's actually better than the first one because it's more sturdier, and I prefer this material. I really do think so. Only downside, like I said, then again, it's not a downside. The first downside is not backlit, but I never cared too much about that myself. Second one is probably the biggest bummer, really, is finding out that the European version doesn't have the Bluetooth connection. Again, it's not a deal breaker for me because I used it sometimes, not too much, but I still use it sometimes. It would have been nice to have it, and it would have been nice that OnePlus would have actually mentioned that. The screen quality is amazing, as you can see for yourself. I love the size, 13.2. I love the aspect ratio. You can watch movies, play games, and also you do want to work. Yeah, I find the 16:10, 16:9. 16:10 is my favorite for watching movies, entertainment, for example. But this kind of, I think it's a 7:5 aspect ratio, or 3:2 is my favorite for kind of all-rounder. So I do like it. Battery life is really good. So I've been playing this. I still got 69% battery life. Performance is amazing. Sound quality, you heard for yourself, is really good. So do I recommend it for that price that I got? Yes. It's currently still a good price if you buy it now. I think it's £529 for the 512 16 gigs still, and it's a Snapdragon 8 Elite, so it's top spec 16 512. You ain't gonna get this quality tablet this size for that price. Apple, Samsung would be around £1,000+. So there you go. And I love using it. Been using it on and off. So I have to kind of wrap this video up and say it's a thumbs up for me. I do like it. Yeah, until next time, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are in the world. And please do stay safe. And of course, the back, you can see already, fingerprints. This is a matte finish, so you kind of got to give it a good rub. Yeah, give us a like, subscribe, all that cool stuff. And until next time, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Wherever you're in the world, please do stay safe. Goodbye now.